when I did the Earth Day 2026 video, I realized that rare earth elements came up a lot. And that's because, of course, they are important. They're in almost every piece of technology we use in the modern world. And there are even geopolitical tensions surrounding them. But as I was putting that video together, I found myself asking a simple question. How much do I really know about rare earth elements? I mean, yes, on a fundamental level, I know what they are. I know where they sit on the periodic table. I know a few of their names, and trust me, they have some really weird names. And I know a bit about the Jamaican context, like how they are concentrated in bauxite residual tailings ponds and what we call rare red mud lakes. And there have been efforts over the last 15 to 20 years to extract the rare earth elements from that residue. I also have a fair idea of some of the technologies that use them. I've always found them interesting, but there's a critical piece of the rare earth puzzle that I haven't really thought about until recently, at least not in a direct way as a geologist. What are the actual ores from which we extract rare earth elements? And for the uninitiated, an ore is a naturally occurring rock or mineral from which we extract a particular metal. When I think about more common examples, it's easy. Copper comes from minerals like bornite, cuprite, azurite, and malachite. Bauxite, is for aluminum. Galena is for lead. Sphalerite is for zinc. Gold is in quartz veins or high sulfidation environments, often associated with silver and copper. But what about ores for rare earth elements? It's not something I had really considered until recently, and from a geological standpoint, it's definitely something I should at least be a little familiar with. So I went down a bit of a scientific rabbit hole and came up with a few things. In this video, I'd like to share them with you. Let's take a look at these rare earth ores together. So, I thought it was necessary to start with a quick overview of rare earth elements just to cover the basics. So, what exactly are rare earth elements? Rare earth elements, or REEs, are a group of 17 chemically similar silvery white soft heavy metals comprising the 15 lanthanides, that group on the periodic table if you can recall high school chemistry. Plus scandium and yttrium are also included. These elements are critical to modern technology, including electronics, electric vehicles, and defense systems. Now, while they are relatively abundant within the Earth's crust, they are rarely found in economically mineable deposits. So they are not rare in the strictest sense. Their rarity comes from the fact that they are not often concentrated in economically viable quantities in one place. One thing I always stress on this channel is that for us to mine anything, it has to be economically viable. It's not just about the quantity of the mineral or commodity that exists in the ground, but also the available technology, market conditions, supply and demand, and the cost of extraction. But anyway, let's stick with the rare earth elements. These elements are used in everything from electric cars to wind turbines to smartphones to even the devices you are watching this video on, along with so many other modern technology. But knowing how they are used is one thing. Knowing where they are on the periodic table and memorizing atomic numbers is another thing. Knowing the pure science from the literature is another thing. And even if you are a sort of an electrical engineer designing wind turbines or smart devices, that's only a small part of the global supply chain. The people engineering the technology may only ever encounter these metals after they are already processed. Many people refuse to admit it because mining gets a bad reputation, but at the end of the day, we still have to mine these materials. And in order for mining to take place, it takes people like exploration geologists to discover these materials in the raw form within ore deposits. Which takes me back to my original question. What are the different ores of rare earth elements? So as I shared with you in an earlier segment, although I have a fair understanding of what rare earth elements are and how they are used, I realized there were still some gaps in my own knowledge as a geologist. For example, I had no idea what the major minerals were from which we would obtain rare earth elements in the first place. So I did what anyone would do. I googled it, and the AI overview gave me 5 major minerals or ore types. They were bastnasite, which I believe may have some German etymology based on the accent over the A, monazite, loporite, and xenotime. I just love how some of these minerals, they sound like you're summoning Pokemon or something. Bastnasite is described as a fluorocarbonate mineral and is one of the key sources of rare earth elements such as cerium and neodymium. Monazite is a name that actually rang a bell for me, as it is a phosphate mineral associated with the production of several rare earth elements, particularly some of the heavier ones. Laporite is a major source of lanthanum and cerium and is primarily mined in Russia. Xenotime is another phosphate mineral that honestly I had no idea about, but it's an important source of yttrium. Anyway, the quick overview was nice and all, but I wanted something a little bit more deeper. So of course, I had to see what the scientific literature was saying. So in the following segment, that is what I will look at in more detail. So my trip down the research paper rabbit hole yielded the following results. Starting with bastnasite. I found a 2019 paper published in Ore Geology Reviews. The study highlights that bastnasite bearing carbonatite deposits, which accounts for roughly 51% of global rare earth oxide reserves, can be better understood through the Mianin Dechang belt in China. Hope I didn't butcher that name. This belt acts as an important natural laboratory where evolving magmatic and hydrothermal systems progressively concentrate rare earth elements before they are ultimately deposited alongside minerals like calcite, fluorite, and barite during later hydrothermal stages. For monazite, I came across a 2015 paper in Minerals Engineering. It describes monazite as one of the world's major rare earth minerals, commonly recovered from heavy mineral sands where it occurs alongside ilmenite, rutile, and zircon. The paper walks through how rare earths are extracted from these sands through mining, mineral separation, and acid and alkaline leaching and solvent extraction techniques, while also pointing to growing global demand and the environmental challenges tied to its production. For Loporite, I found an interesting study dating back to 1997, which notes that it is a significant rare earth ore mineral primarily mined in Russia's Kola Peninsula, where it serves as an important source of light rare earth elements like cerium and neodymium. The mineral occurs in alkaline igneous rocks and is processed through chlorination and acid treatment to recover rare earths along with titanium and other metals. And more recently, a study in 2007 suggested 1997 findings hold up surprisingly well. The basic geology and mineralogy and economic importance of Loporite remain largely confirmed in the new research, along with more modern work adding to the processing of the material. And there are many more papers out there, but overall it's a fascinating body of work, to say the least. There's a lot going on in these systems. As usual, I will link all the studies in the description for those of you who want to take a deeper look into these things. So that's it for this video. A brief look at the ores from which we get rare earth elements. Of course, this is by no means exhaustive, and there's a lot more out there, much of it beyond my own understanding and level of expertise. That said, I hope I did justice to the topic, and I suspect this won't be the last time I talk about rare earth elements on this channel. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.